Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thanks for your time this morning. Thank you for accepting the invitation for the interview. So, tell us about yourself. Uh, how long have you been here, and what do you do basically in UAE?
Well, it goes back to 71. I was born here. Parents migrated to Dubai. We lived here for 18 years before we migrated to Sweden. I traveled a bit between countries. After graduation in Stockholm, I moved on to work in Italy within the hospitality industry,
Wow,
which took me back to Dubai for development. So that is the
that's quite a
story of a
diverse
lifetime.
background.
Absolutely, yes.
So, I would guess you speak many languages.
Yes, I'm very blessed to have had the opportunity to learn some of them by living in those countries, and some of them by birth, which is the mother
Okay.
tongue.
So, how many languages do you speak exactly?
Fluently five, but I do consider Danish and Norwegian to be also very strong.
I see. What are those fives?
Well, the mother tongue is Farsi, and I learned Arabic as well.
Right.
Use it daily in my work. English is a common
Sure.
language for everyone, and Swedish and Italian would be the fourth and the fifth.
Oh, I see. Okay. So when you started coaching, I believe you're an executive coach in UAE for how long?
Well, I've been practicing coaching for the last 5.5 years.
I see.
I started by going through the coactive coaching training, and kind of developed my own philosophy after that. Went through transformational coaching, and it has been now a privilege to assist and also be part of a growth of coaching in the United Arab Emirates and GCC as a
Okay.
whole.
And you're basically ICF certified coach
Yes.
for more than 500 hours, I believe.
Correct, which we refer to as the PCC, Professional Certified Coach.
Coach. Okay. So tell us more about how do you help organizations? What does it exactly do, or what's your philosophy in coaching?
Well, a usual day would be if you receive a call and somebody wants to change their life. As simple as that. It can start with a simple question of how can I get better in my work? How can I balance my work and my life? Or matters such as how can I lose weight? How can I be consistent in committing to something and getting the end result? What I can always promise a person is that the change comes from within the coachee. So as a coach, we have the tendency of listening a lot. The problem or the solution, as I would say, the solutions lie within the person who is there to be coached. A simple example would be executives who have reached a moment in their life with an obstacle where that obstacle can be broken down. We always manage to see the problem now and not yesterday. So the whole focus of coaching is not to go back and analyze what happened last year, but rather stay in the moment. So what can you do now to change tomorrow?
Right. So it's more future focused basically rather than.
Exactly. Coaching is all about now and tomorrow. So whereas psychoanalysis or other manners of getting in depth and trying to solve someone's problems is analyzing the past. In coaching, there's different philosophies. Everybody has their own little touch and their own experience that they bring into coaching. For me, it is years of being in leadership roles, having seen leaders who can uncover, or leaders who actually do not know how to uncover potential.
I see.
And therefore, when you bring that into the coaching space, when I use it with executives, is allowing the person to be themselves. You have to be in the moment. You have to, as we call it, dance in the moment. It's one of the techniques. Dance in the moment means be with the coachee and try to, go one step at a time. And it might take a lifetime for someone to change. It might take a month. It can take a year. So you have to understand that every person comes with an exclusive and very unique background. And every background is very important and special. And therefore, we do not want to change anyone unless they want to change themselves.
I see. So it's basically you're helping them on the way, so you're guiding them, or maybe like being more of a mirror.
There are techniques that you can actually use to ensure that there is resonance. It has to resonate with a person if they want to change something. Sometimes a coachee, as we refer to a person who wants to be coached, comes in with an idea, but they get lost in what they want to change. So the role of a coach is also very important to keep them focused on where they want to go from here onwards. Sometimes you have to make sure that you are very, and also one of the techniques I use is that I'm sometimes known to be a bit more harsh than soft, because you need to keep very focused with the person you are sitting with on a regular basis, and remind them what they came to change.
And you actually come from a sports coaching background, so that
Yes.
kind of basically helps, and that shapes your philosophy and the way you work as well.
I think sports helps anything in life and everyone. Yeah, I've been active in sports since the age of 7. I still coach on personal level.
Okay.
I do that with children of different ages, and also youngsters and athletes up until 18 years old. I think what sports does, it brings discipline. It teaches you teamwork, and also how to solve problems in a minimum time. I can give you an example of leadership within coaching, sports coaching environment, where a team of football players train 6 days a week to deliver 90 minutes of effective performance once a week.
Right.
Therefore, a leader of that team has to have the capacity of gluing all the bits and pieces together during a full week, and to prepare the team mentally, physically, to be there every Sunday, if it's a Sunday game, to get on the pitch and have one vision, one goal, and be able to get the best out of that day.
So an entire mindset and like an entire month of, or I don't know, like a much longer time period requires to prepare a good performance in 1 hour.
It takes a lifetime.
Right.
You have to have a good, you have to have a balance in your, in your diet. You have to have balance in your personal life, as well as you have to be well cemented with the people you're working with. And that is one thing we can also take from sports into the corporate world, or the world we work in. If it's a corporate world, so be it. Whereas people spend a few hours a day getting to know each other. They work perhaps very well together, but it's only when the market tactics change, where stress is put upon leaders, and they kind of, put that down on the organizations, where the role of leadership is very, very clear. I can elaborate on this. That
Sure.
When a market situation changes in the business world today, which means maybe the competition does something that you are not expecting.
Right.
A leader has to be very, very fast in changing the strategy. However, without losing the vision and the mission. And therefore, perhaps that's where coaching comes in for certain executives, where they will, maybe they are not very well prepared in terms of how do I deal with the human capital, and how do I bring the potential out of a human being without losing heads.
Especially in stressful times, right?
Especially in business stressful times, I would say economical stressful times, sometimes push organizations to take decisions of cutting heads or headcounts, and also trying to save money where perhaps not necessarily the best results come out of.
Right.
And that means that we have a lot of potential in organizations to bring in coaching as a culture and break this taboo that coaching is not equivalent to people who have problems, but rather people who are looking for solutions.
Right. It's honestly, basically, it's in the sports coaching, you don't coach a person because he cannot walk or he cannot run. You're coaching them to do better, to become their best. So it's basically the same mindset in an organization, right?
Yes, it is individual and a teamwork. So, for instance, one thing I do have a few athletes which are individual in their role, even though they play in a team. Such is a role of a goalkeeper in a football team, where that person is individual within a team. However, he has to have a very strong mindset. He has to be, or she has to be very independent in terms of taking decisions. So how can that be compared to organizations? Well, if we have strong leaders and we have strong team members and associates, being able to work together in a way that they can bring the best out of themselves for the organization and the community.
Yes.
Meaning that they can be vulnerable without getting criticized. They all know what the vision is, which is one, and what the goal is to reach. And then there must be a plan. There must be a plan of action. So how do we do that? How can we reach where we want to reach, but knowing each other's defaults, knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses, and allowing it. So one thing that we want to allow is in coaching is, it is fine to be, I would use the word weak,
right,
but it's not in a negative term.
Right.
It's okay not to be strong at all times. Nobody is strong at all times. And that is one image that the executive leaders want to always transmit, that they're strong. She or he, they are very strong. And especially, you can see that more in the introduction in the UAE of women taking leadership roles, which is an amazing initiative now, and it's become a campaign. And therefore, it is fine to be, human.
I understand.
And because we are, after all, human, and
Sure.
we can also have moments of dips, highs and lows. So how can we manage that?
And maybe that can also help to have a better team relationship.
I think so. I think the more human you are today, the
Sure.
better you become as a leader, and the better you become as a member of an association or an organization, because you show who you are, and when you need help, you ask for it.
Perfect. So it's not only leaders who usually, well, I understand that it might be the situation of the market right now, that usually it's like more of executive levels who enjoy coaching, executive coaching. But how do you think the coaching generally can help the entire population of the firm?
It has to be the culture within the organization allowing it. You refer to executive levels being the ones who permit themselves to,
Right.
approach coaching. And that might be also another taboo we have to break here, which means coaching is expensive. For many people, coaching is expensive, and that is not a reality. It depends on the quality of coaching you want to receive, and also on the consistency, and depending on what you reach out to. So there are different niche markets of coaches. As far as I'm concerned, I think the best practice you could do in an organization is to allow a coaching workshop.
Right.
Allowing a workshop where associates and team members and family members, as I call them always in an organization, can come in and in a very sacred space, in a space where you can be yourself without being judged. And that has to be an external in many cases, because the departments within the organizations refer to human resources usually have an agenda when it's referring to coaching, when it's referring to performance reviews. It's a negative terminology within organizations. So when you refer to an outsourced coach, you bring this workshop into the organization. You allow them to do 45 minutes to an hour of, I want to say assessment. Assessment, again, for me is a negative word, because you're assessing me. And
Right.
whereas there's no assessment. We do, the life cycle or balance
Right.
sheet, and therefore the whole room understands where they stand. And from there, you can identify, and actually, as a matter of fact, the person who requires internally coaching identifies that perhaps I should take it to the next step.
Right.
Right.
Basically, that's the first step to see where I am in life. How am I
Exactly.
doing? And then once you get aware to that, then you take the next step
100%.
to
100%. Because as I said, it can be anything from changing your diet into a very difficult moment for a leader in an organization where she or he cannot get out of because
Right.
of everything which is surrounding them. So therefore, you need to speak with someone who listens and doesn't give you the solution. But by listening and digging, you will come up with your own solution, because that's how change is occurring.
I see. Okay. So as basically the last question, how do you think a supportive environment can help coaching and can help human resource of an organization to like develop and to get to their next stage?
To be open to dialogue, to invite perhaps certified coaches to come in,
Right.
to give a workshop,
Uh-huh.
talk about coaching, diverse coaching, transformational coaching, coactive coaching, depending on your philosophy that you bring in.
Mhm.
But organizations who are open for dialogue and who are flat in terms of how they
Hierarchies.
work, exactly how they work with each other, open organizations are the best ones that you can find potential for coaching within. Organizations where getting coached refers to a performance review,
Mhm.
I see that difficult coming in. They have to change their mindsets. They have to, and that's happening a lot in UAE, where we're moving forward with terms of coaching coming in within government, coaching coming in within corporate, organizations. But it starts with one person usually, and that is the head of that organization,
Right.
believing that coaching, and trusting that coaching can bring the positive change in their life and the life of others.
I see. So it's
That's
more of a
simple.
culture in an organization
Yes,
which supports
and
this.
obviously, the more we talk about it in this space, that will be helpful. The more
Sure.
we bring it up, the more we participate in activities within coaching relative environment. That will be very helpful.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.